Hello and welcome to episode 76 of Celtic Rumours TV, the Bawz and Bovril podcast with your host Mark and myself Paul. You can check out all the links to the podcast in the description below. You can also check our forum page to the podcast at www.celticrumours.co.uk. On the show tonight, we look back on yesterday's game at Celtic Park where Celtic beat St Mirren 2-0. We will chat about the upcoming friendly against the Rangers in Australia, and we look ahead to the weekend's game against Livingston on Sunday, kick-off at 12 o'clock. Firstly, though, I'll hand off to Mark for a few shout-outs.
Thanks very much, Paul. Quick few shout-outs to Alex, Tim Alloy, Richie, and his family, guys in the live chat, Bobby, Terence, Jabra Jobbies. Special shout-out, John, Paul, his buzz bomb, John. John, his wife, dropped off bag of goodies for me yesterday at the door. I was telling you about it. That was really nice of them, so I really appreciate that. So thanks very much, Buzzbomb, and he's making Jacqueline for that.
So last night, St Mirren was the visitors to Celtic Park. The first half saw Celtic trying to break down a St Mirren defence, and the first goal came on the 55th minute by Karen Carter-Vickers from a set piece. Ange brought on the changes to secure the win, bringing on Roger, Beaton and Forrest, and pushing Callum McGregor up into a more forward role. And as we were saying in the podcast with Terence last week, pushing McGregor forward saw the benefits as Callum McGregor scored a goal securing the win for Celtic. Gucci then replaced Callum McGregor. So, Mark, I think, look, what we were trying to say with Callum McGregor pushing forward, there is benefits to that. I think we saw that with Celtic last night, even with his passing, the ball that he picked out, Mahida, the little chip to Mahida.
He's more effective, Paul. He's more effective playing up there. I mean, we spoke about before how that was his role. I mean, even his goal last night, but we were speaking about the goals he used to score arriving late in the box and the shots.
Exactly, and we don't see that, Mark, with Logic or like Hayashi, right, might get there in some parts with, like, but McGregor knows that role inside out. Like, he's played there for Scotland, he's played there for Ting, you know.
It's just, as I've said to you, Paul, I think it's more, I don't think Beaton's ideal for the holding position, because he's not got the kind of passing range that McGregor's got. You can see why Ange wants him to play in there, but he's not as effective really in Ange's system as we saw last night. So it's maybe time for Ange to, maybe put Gucci in there, let McGregor play further forward.
The game in general, Mark, like, it was kind of a stop and go start again to the first half, but we did look faster than previous games.
I thought we were playing a lot better tempo in that, Paul, but there was long spells of the game that especially in the first half, we weren't pointless football again, wasn't it really, Paul, for a lot of it? It was just wasting passes and stuff, the passes to side and that. But I thought the second half, especially when the substitutions came on, started dominating a bit better.
I think that's what changed it, Mark. The substitutions, you know.
I thought Rogic played really well when he came on. I think he made a big difference, Paul.
And even
kind of not slag that off. He's not been playing the way he was playing earlier on in the season, but I thought last night he'd done well when he came on.
But maybe he needed a bit of a rest, Mark. Do you know what I mean? You know, maybe be that. Maybe, like, you can say, like, between himself and O'Reilly, Mark, like, two of them don't need to be playing the full game. Do you get me? Like, one could replace the other in any game. Like, so Ange needs to be kind of using them a bit more as well in that way, Mark, himself and Roger. You know what I mean? You know, rotating them a bit more throughout the game. You know?
Well, the substitutions basically changed the game last night, Paul. So, and as we've spoken about as well, why is it no changing the game? Other games that we've struggled in, there's no way to kind of changes that turn the game around as such.
Another thing too, Mark, is that I noticed last night as well is we're not playing to Mahida's strengths. You know, putting long balls, putting big crosses into him, Mark, against 6'2" centre backs and stuff like that, Mark.
For me, he's not a striker, Paul.
No.
and they've said, he was signed to play. He was signed as a winger, really. He's just covering there because Kyogo's fit. Kyogo's injured. Was Giacomakis is injured. But for me, Maid is no the answer in there. And even when we're doing to our bare bones, Paul, I don't think he's doing much for us in there.
No, even Mark, right? Even
as JFP says, he'll run about chasing an empty crisp poke all day, but it's not really effective in any chances. Even what you would term a good chance, Paul, he's not really taking the chances or nothing. Do you know what I mean?
No, he's not, Mark. He's a runner. You know what I mean? And he doesn't like having his back to the goal. You know what I mean? Media wants the ball in front of him like a winger does.
It's not that. He's not that kind of striker's instinct, Paul. You can tell by watching him. He's not got that kind of striker's instinct. And I mean, it's just injuries because injuries and illnesses, whatever. It needs must, Paul. But I think that if Giacomakis isn't going to make it for Livingston on Sunday, I definitely think Ange needs to look at something else in the middle.
We talk about Livingston in a minute, Mark, when the coupling thing, but defensively, Mark, we looked strong last night again. I know St Mirren didn't offer much, but it's a clean sheet. Like this, it's been a while since Celtic kind of kept a clean sheet as well.
Again, it's only St Mirren, Paul, but I thought Starfelt, he's looked a bit ropey the last few games, and I thought Starfelt did one of his better games for us. Carter Vickers is just solid for us every game, isn't he? Really, doesn't he? Goal just capped off man of the match.
Speaking of his goal, Mark, we were only talking about that on Sunday with Terence, Mark. The set piece is like when's the last time we scored in a set piece? And here we are then. On Wednesday we get a goal from a set piece, but I was looking at it, Mark, and finally we got a goal from a set piece. But I said I'll have a look at the stats for defending and attacking in our thing. First I do the defending, Mark, and we're actually ranked the lowest in the league, Mark, for conceding goals and set pieces. 59%. Hibs are just above us at 39. So far, we've conceded 17 times this season from set pieces.
That's the lowest in the league.
Yeah, and 10 of them have been headers. 10 of them have been headers, Mark. So you can see our Achilles heel, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
How's that Achilles heel? So we've
the height.
But if we've conceded the less amount of goals for set pieces in the league.
No, we've conceded the most.
Aye, that's what I mean. You're saying we're bottom of the league, so we're the top of the league.
No, we're the lowest. Yeah, we're the lowest. Right, yeah, the top.
Right, I've got me right. Aye. Because I was going to say, I thought we were. That goes against what we've basically sitting watching. Right, I've got you now. Sorry about that, Paul.
Yeah,
it's just as you say. It's just what we've been saying. It is something that's just.
But there's kind of a few things, Mark, right? There's a few things is the issue, right? There's one is we have a 6'5" keeper who's static on his line.
I think that's a big problem for it. I've said that to you before, Paul.
There's a mix of between, you can't really say, Mark, we're doing zonal marking because there's a mix of both, I think. When some players are picking up players, other players aren't, then the other players then are kind of doing zonal marking, so. It's either one or the other that we're doing. Do you know what I mean? Not kind of a mix of both. Because I think the players are just confused, Mark.
I don't think it's that. Well, maybe it's a lack of height. I would like a bit more height in there. But it's for me, Paul, it's set pieces. It comes down to lack of organisation. But you're saying players need to know. We've had Barry on saying it, but he used to get told, your set pieces, you're marking him. That's who you stick to him like glue. And it's just, to me, that's what it comes down to. It's not even coming down to that ability to play, he's too short to win headers and things like that, like Starfelt and things like that. It's down to the way that the team's actually been organised. And again, Paul, that's something that Ange's got. If we're talking about it, everybody's said it, we've said it for months. It's got to be something that he's got to be actually thinking about.
But then I noticed, Mark, last night, right, when there was a ball that was crossed in for Joe Hart, and it was in around the penalty area, and he came out and he claimed it. And didn't even punch it, not just a clean catch, he caught it, Mark.
He doesn't do it often enough, but
yeah, but I'm saying, like he's well able to do it. You know, and why isn't he doing it, Mark? You know, why is he afraid to come out in a cluster of players in case he doesn't get dripped? Like, but as you said, Mark, 9 times out of 10, the keeper's going to get the benefit of the doubt if he goes down.
Aye, exactly. He either gets the ball or he go. 9 times out of 10, he'll get the ball or he'll double it.
You know,
That's
like
something. I don't know.
But I think, Mark, every team knows now that that's Celtic's weakness.
I suppose even Paul, if you think about it, see, like if you've got a keeper that's going to come out like that, in a way,
it wouldn't be your weakness, Denmark.
No, it would definitely help, but it would also it's giving you another defender in there, another body in the mix idea. Whereas if you're crossing the ball, I know we've got for 2 centre halves. But if you're crossing the ball in and you've got 2 centre halves and a goalkeeper going for it, the low averages help you even weigh that as well.
Especially Mark 6'5", like if he's jumping with his hands back,
you're
nearly guaranteed that he's going to out jump any kind of striker that's coming up against your Hart, you know?
That's definitely something that Hart, I just need to maybe have a word with Hart about. Stevie Wood staying have a word.
I don't know, Mark. I think something might have just by looking at last night, like I think something might have been said to Joe Hart because the way he came out and claimed that ball by the penalty area clearly, like I didn't see Hart doing that too many times throughout the season. So I think it was kind of something that they were working at because when Terence was on with us, Terence said, Mark, in their warm-ups, they're crossing the ball in or they're throwing the ball up high for Joe Hart and the keepers to come out and catch it. So they're practicing this in training. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. I mean, Fraser Foster was one of the best keepers I've seen at Celtic for Derek Boric was the same. You know, I mean, you're back even the years with Kasper Schmeichel. It's all something that they've had in their game. Just coming with that mentality, that's my ball, and if in the game, Paul, if they don't get it, chances are it's going to be a kick.
Attacking wise, Denmark, like last night, I know we scored, but I think we're actually ranked the worst in the league as well for goals scored as set pieces, Mark. I have us down maybe 3 to 4 goals we scored this season, which is very poor, Mark, considering of the players we have, Mark. Like
I said that the other night, Paul. It's not just it's at both ends of the park with set pieces. We're nothing. We're really all for nothing, Paul. I mean,
I know we're a small team, Mark. Like, but geez, like you
see if Celtic get a corner, Paul. Do you honestly expect them to get anything out of that corner?
No.
You don't. You're not anticipating anything to come from it. Just because it's just something again, saying that the defending set pieces. They were actually offensive set pieces. It's just shocking. There's just seems to be a game, Paul. Maybe with Giacomakis in the box, some of the crosses would be. Do you get what I mean? It would be more effective. But why are you putting them into the box to these guys that are like Maida and folk like that?
Because I was looking last night and when I was reading up the reports, Mark, there was 20 crosses into the box last night, into Maida, that were high balls, and he's up against defenders that are 6'5". And I said that to you, Mark, that it's down to the players to adjust their style of play, that they should know that Maida is not going to get to these balls. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a different striker to Giacomakis. He's a different striker to maybe a Yeti, Mark, who's more physical, I think, as well. Like, you know, like we've different strikers, Mark. So the players should be able to play differently, Mark, to different strikers. I mean, they're not going to put I didn't see him put high balls, Mark, when Kyogo was in there.
Oh, that's what I was going to say there, Paul. Just to kind of a wee rant about we were trying to kind of through the middle of teams and walk the ball into the net, some people call it. I think here the last couple of games we've seen to be getting out wide a lot more often and putting these crosses in. Whereas last night, see Maida's playing maybe just gets the ball, picks the ball up just outside the box. Let him get the ball there and take a run at these defenders. Rather than putting balls in and hoping he's going to get a break of the ball, beat them a header or things like that. I mean, don't get us wrong, it was some strike, he was unlucky with that kind of overhead kick that he hit. But apart from that, really, I mean, let him run at these defenders. We maybe get a foul outside the box, we maybe get a penalty if you get what I mean. But just punting balls into my head is a pointless exercise.
It is, Mark. Like, especially, I think, Mark, like a team against St. Mirren or a team like Livingston or these physical teams, Mark, when he's up against that, like, and people, I see a lot of people criticising him, Mark, saying, oh, he's not, what was the hype about him? But, like, I come out to defend him, like, saying, one, he's not an out-and-out striker.
No.
And two is the Celtic players aren't playing to his strengths. Do you know what I mean? They're not trying to dink the ball in behind. Like, the only time, Mark, I really saw a ball behind the defence was when Callum McGregor did that, and he just did kind of flicked it over his overhead. Like, that was the only time I really saw Celtic playing into his strengths, and that was us putting Callum McGregor into that forward role. You know what I mean? Like, Rogic is supposed to be one of the best passers in the team, Mark. He should be well able to pull in the pass through that defence, or O'Reilly should be well able, you know.
See, for Maida, Paul, you'd have expected Maida, because we're saying he's not an out striker, but you expect him just to kind of play the way Logo plays, just on the shoulder of the last man. You just see get Rogic, Egger, Hatati, or whoever playing these wee in balls that Kyogo was catching, balls that Kyogo was running onto.
But we didn't even start. We kind of didn't do that for him, Mark, did we? You know, they didn't kind of put these balls in for him to run onto these.
No, that's what I mean. But we seem to be playing as if he's an old-fashioned kind of number 9 striker, like Chris Sutton or somebody like that in there. And that's no Maida's game. I mean, if he's a natural winger, you can't expect him to get in there and play that kind of role.
And you know what I think too, Mark? Like, it doesn't seem to be Ange's game either. Do you know what I mean? You know, like,
it's a bit different from what we've been used to watching.
Yeah, like this is kind of coming recently, Mark, in the last couple of weeks, like that we seem to be putting in these crosses into the ball, like, you know what I mean? And you know,
even Jota's barely crossing 9 times out of 10. Jota's hitting a cross in, whereas before it was maybe 5 times out of 10. The other 5 was trying to beat his man and get into the box. Now Jota's kind of holding back a bit with that style as well. And
there's like, you look at it then as well, like with Hayase and O'Reilly, they seem to do, I don't know, is it an Ange tactic or what, Mark, or thing like, but they're never in and around the box. They're always kind of laying outside the box for waiting for a ball to be cut back. Like, there seems to be no support either for O'Reilly, and the only support I saw last night, Mark, is when McGregor got into the box. You know, like, these are our attacking midfielders. Like, they need to be in the box for this, like,
sniffing about for the break of the ball and things like that. And he says, and O'Reilly himself said that that's part of his game when he came here. He said himself, I'll go up and down the park and I like to get in about the goals and things like that. And well, again, he seems to be playing a more kind of defensive role, Paul, even though he's playing a more advanced position, if that makes sense.
But I think, Mark, the reason he's playing that defensive role, Mark, is going back to the fact, Mark, that Callum McGregor can't play that holding midfielder role, and that's why they're staying back then, Mark, because that to give Callum McGregor, like we saw with Scott Brown. Do you know, like, Callum McGregor was staying back to help Scott Brown. Is O'Reilly and Hayase kind of more inclined to stay back a bit more to help Callum McGregor? You know.
Well, you might have something there. I'm definitely going down the route of what you're saying, Paul. Like, maybe get that put you in there.
Oh man, when I saw him coming on last night,
I thought you were away. I was like, he's missed that. He'll be raging.
You know, and I know it's only a couple of minutes. No, Mark, he didn't have much to do. Like, but you know, he needs game time, Mark, for Celtic fans to make a judgment on him to see if he was the person that Ange signed for that role, and we'll have to see what he can do then for that role. Mark, I could be wrong. Do you know what I mean?
But we're not.
Do you know,
we
but
we
don't know
aye,
till we
that's
see it. Like, do you know what I mean? You know, and I think that's the role, because
I mean, it is a bit worrying when you look at the amount of midfielders we've got, that we've not got somebody to fill this role that we think we need to see to help the team.
Yeah, and especially like this is the role, Mark, where Ange's system kind of needs to be played. Do you mean this holding role, the fella who needs to pick out these passes and the fella who needs to tackle? And look, we saw on a few occasions, Mark, the last couple of days, we saw it last night and he got booked. Like Callum McGregor is not a tackler, Mark.
Oh, I've
You know?
said that to you all along, Paul. He
Yeah.
can't. The chances of Callum McGregor, most of the time he's going to end up a booting. And see, and we Sorrell get pelters for being the same. But for me, McGregor is just as rash at getting into tackles for Sorrell. It's just he doesn't get into as many of them. Do you know what I mean?
Mark, I suppose the main thing is last night. Look, we got 3 points. We
That was
kept the
important
pressure up,
thing.
and it
And
looked.
we did play a bit better.
And it was that's what I was going to say,
we
Mark.
weren't
There was improvements there yesterday. I think the way we played yesterday would be more suited to J. Marcus. You know, he would have thrived on those balls, Mark, going into that box. You know.
I mean, it's unlucky that he's probably picked up some kind of illness or whatever, because, I mean, he was starting to score goals and been really impressed with him. I have, Paul. I mean, it took him his time to get going. We've no disputing that, but and I know Mikey was quite excited that we were signing him, because even if it was a one season wonder to be a scorer in Holland, you're still going to be a half decent player. But I've been really impressed with him, Paul. You can tell that he's worked hard as well. And it's just unlucky that he's picked this up. Or I think he'd have added these goals over the last 2 games. It just seems to. For me, he's a bit more physical than your Gary Hooper, but he's that same type of player, Paul. He's in and about these. See the positions Maeda's getting into. Giacomakis would make better of the positions, Paul, and they half chances that are falling to Maeda. I mean, even any headers he was getting, man, his headers were just going. It was pure luck that
it was, Mark. He was only just like.
He had no control. He was winning headers, but he had no control over them or anything like that.
It was just like they were a bit above his head, Mark, and they were kind of skimming off his head. Or, you know, he kind of no control of the way he needed to put the ball, because and I saw him. I saw Maeda score goals with his head, Mark, in Japan like that. But I don't know, like it's just not. The way we're playing, it's not suited him, Mark, and you know what? It's given Celtic fans a bad impression of him. You know, people are saying, Mark, he looks tidy. Like, in what game were they watching when I looked at Maeda yesterday, Mark? And how can you say he's tired? He didn't stop all night, Mark. He closed down that keeper all night, Mark. He was back at one stage, Mark, helping the defence, and then 2 seconds later, he's up the top of the pitch. You know?
He tracked back. Back at help out the right back position.
And that's why, Mark. That's why he needs to be on the wings, Mark, because he's there to help your defence. Like, I mean, and you know, like, he doesn't look tired, Mark. He's just not getting the service.
I just don't think he's suited to the job, Paul. It's just as if it would be like putting Jota in there and saying to Jota to play that kind of. But I'm saying, like,
you know, because you look what Andrew's system, Mark. He wants 2 players for that position.
And even people that are saying, "Oh, Abada look good through the middle." But think back to how we were playing then when Abada played through the middle. If we were still playing that same way, Paul, I think Maeda would be a bit more effective there. But he's not effective in the way that we're playing the new, with these balls just box.
Like, you look at Andrew's signings, and he's kind of 2 to 3 players, Mark, for every position. And before Maeda came in, on the left-hand side, all we had was Mickey Johnson and Jota. And you could always say, like, that Ange wanted a player there, Mark, and that player he signed for that position was Maeda. You know, to have Maeda and Jota for the left-hand side. You know?
That's it. I thought that the day when I was looking things up about Maeda, they're saying he's more a left winger, but see to you, Paul, in the YouTube videos, I thought he was playing more on the right-hand side.
Well, that's it, man. He plays
either
way, yeah, but he's mostly on the left. I thought, Mark, as well, look, Celtic again, look, we controlled the game. You know, we didn't seem to be under pressure at one, and I think that seems to be the norm at the moment with Celtic. It's controlling the games, but the goals came yesterday, Mark, which was vital, I think, and I think the control of Vickers for that corner, like, that was instant, Mark. That was a pure instinct for him just to hit that ball.
That was like a bit of a poacher's goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know.
But we weren't half needing it.
You know, and I think that's what we needed, Mark, to kind of bring out St. Mirren. Like, Celtic need to get against these teams, Mark, that have 10 men behind the ball. We need to get an early goal, Mark,
Aye, to
to bring them
open
out.
the game up a bit. But if it goes into like your 20-minute mark and that, and Celtic's no scored, you know that this team's just going to park the bus even there. But again,
Because
Paul, I think that Joseph Agnew saying he's getting fed up after all the games, same party, 11, 10 men behind the ball. Well, all training these players you would think would train so they can win. But that's what it is. It's up to the it's up to Celtic to find a way through these teams that do that, because these teams are quite entitled to do that. They might, I mean, it's horrible to watch, we're not denying that, but the teams are quite, the managers are quite entitled to come to Celtic Park and set their team up whatever way they want, because I mean, they're there for even bonus in that Dundee United. Anything you get at Celtic Park's a bonus. You go there no expecting to pick up any points. If St Mirren are coming here, it's not as if their manager's going to get sacked if they get 5-0. But they've still got to do their job and make sure their players aren't getting out there and getting embarrassed. You know what I mean? So that's why it's up to Celtic to find a way through that. And we need somebody, I keep saying it, we need a kind of wee Lubo type of player, Paul, this wee bit of magic that can break these. Rogic can do it, we know that, but he's not been as consistent as he's been earlier on in the season as well.
just this thing here, Mark, from Joseph there again. Hey, boys, do you think there's some problems behind the door of the dressing room, as there's some players maybe causing a bit of trouble as players keep disappearing? You know, is that like kind of Julian that seems to be disappearing? What players? And Joseph, are you kind of saying?
No, I don't know what he means. I mean, Julian picked up a knock against her.
Mm,
That's obvious why he's disappeared. I don't think Ange. I wouldn't think there's any rotten eggs going on in the background or that, Paul.
not Mark the way I can
Not
see
not
a lot
to the
of harmony
extent,
between this, Mark,
not
because
to
of
the extent of things under Lennon.
no.
I mean, players aren't happy if they're not playing. That's a given. We know that. You know what I mean? We've heard players saying that. That maybe that, but it's
Well,
up
that's
to
a good thing, Mark.
it's up to them to step up
If a
then.
player's upset, Mark, for not playing, well, it's up to you.
Force herself into Angie's plans and force him to make the decision.
And another thing too, Mark, last night with Ange, like we were saying as well with Terence, and we were saying a lot over this podcast, Mark, is that his lack of use of the bench, but he did use the bench last night, and he used the bench wisely last night.
Well, that's what changed the game, Paul. But it really was bringing the substitutions, changed the kind of partner we were playing. After the substitutions, we looked a lot better a team. Which again is strange because it's the team last night, apart from Maeda. But again, I'd have maybe even have risked Ageti in there, Paul, to be honest. I said that to you before the game if he was fit. Just for, I think Ageti would have been a better even option. And
More physical, Mark.
in the middle.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the team is what would have probably all started with. So it was working and he changed it and it worked. So he done his job that way last night. I was happy enough with that kind of thing, that side of things.
Just a thing there, Mark, as well. William was saying, can Wallison play on the left-hand side and keep Jovanovic on the right? I've never seen
I've never seen
him even
playing at left back. No.
Playing at left back. So I don't think it is, Mark. You know what I mean? I think with Ralston at the moment, Mark, he's after getting so much confidence. The fans are after getting behind him and tough stuff. And for me, it would be a big risk for him, Mark, to go off to the left-hand side. And if he had a bad game, the Celtic fans then could attack him again. Oh, it's Ralston back to the same old. So I think with Ralston, it's just best to have him on the right where
I think
it's comfortable.
So as well, aye. And as I've said, I wouldn't mind seeing him getting a chance at centre half, Paul. Just to see what he can do, maybe in a cup game or something like that. But I wouldn't risk moving him out to the other position. I mean, for a start, his left foot's not the best in it, no.
Moving on, so the Celtic board and the Rangers board have come together to decide to play a friendly match in Australia in November. The trip has been called Ange's homecoming by a few Celtic fans. Both sets of fans have been letting their clubs know of their disappointment with the decision. Reports are saying that Celtic could net £6 million and that the Rangers could net £3 million. Both
Where's
find it
that money coming from for a start, Paul?
exactly.
I don't believe that for a minute. I've said that. I don't. I mean, just for Celtic not to go there, then you're talking. Celtic name to go there, you're talking £9 million. Plus the Australian teams will need another. They'll be looking for a handout as well, kind of thing. There's no way in the world that I believe that for a minute that we're getting that kind of money for it.
With both clubs at lockerheads here in Scotland with limited away fans at games, Celtic fans find this decision that the two clubs have come together and decide to go ahead with this game. But news came out today that the game might be in jeopardy as the Scottish FA will have the final decision in the move. Mark, you've been vocal on this on our forum page, www.celticrumours.uk. Why are you upset about it, or not upset, Mark, disappointed with it, and why do you think there has been anger from the Celtic fans about this?
Just think, Paul, for a start, it takes away from the kind of rivalry between us. I mean, I know we can all sit and we'll argue our liquidation and Sevco and that, but it's still the same fans and press and that, it's still the same team and club. It's pure something the Premier League would do, Paul. It's pure, for me, it's just tacky. A friendly between Celtic and Rangers.
But is it?
That would be different, Paul, if it was for really the war, see, for like people in Ukraine or something like. Do you get what I mean? But really, that's just so tacky and kind of.
But like, you could think of it, Mark. Like I'm not for it, like, but I'm trying to give it a kind of a balanced dialogue, Mark. Right? So, but we're always saying that because of no away fans in the stadiums, limited fans in the stadiums, and the lack of broadcasting by the Scottish FA and the lack of broadcast by Sky Sports, like, is this a way of getting Celtic and Rangers out into that side? Or there was actually a deal today, Mark, by Zen Sports over in America, over in Australia, that they're going to be broadcasting Celtic matches from next season.
Is it just an audio thing or something, Paul? Was it no?
No, they're going to show the matches on their apps over in Australia, so Australian fans can actually watch Celtic matches live. Like,
oh,
so
I think they've signed a deal, Paul, which came into effect. They knew that there'll be some kind of audio thing.
Audio, yeah, and then next season, then it's going to be it'll be on the apps then for next season to watch it. Like, is it a way for them to Celtic and Rangers to get the brand out there, Mark, the Scottish game out there?
But it's not up to Celtic to do that. Celtic should be only bothering about themselves. It's up to the SFA and SFPL to get Scottish football out there, and it's up to all these other teams in Scotland to keep up with us. We shouldn't be kind of holding ourselves back, Paul, to help Scottish football.
But why do you think they came to this decision, Mark? Like, what could you see the logic of the Celtic board to think like that this is a good decision to play this game over there in Australia?
Well, the money, I mean, I'm not, as I said, I don't believe for a minute there's £6 million take for Celtic in it, but they'll be well paid for going, whether it's an equivalent even SFL money for a year of $3 million. But I think the money, and then I think it's kind of because Ange, I mean, it's getting promoted as the Ange homecoming thing.
Mm-hmm.
And even down to that, you can see why the Rangers fans are a bit peeved off, because they're kind of getting dragged along to be a sideshow on Ange's homecoming tour as it's been punted.
But that's what kind of gets me, Mark. You know what I mean? The two clubs are at each other's heads here because of the limited away fans. They can't come to an agreement on that, but then they can come to agreement on playing, as you said, a meaningless friendly, dragging us out off to Australia in the middle of November. You know, like, what's the logic to that, Mark? Do you get me?
Well, it's
like,
the only
we're
thing
going to be halfway through the season, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
Well, shutting down for the World Cup, isn't it?
Yeah.
The players that are only going to the World Cup will be sitting kicking their heels.
Well, Rangers will still have a full squad, Mark.
I mean, it's fair do. Celtic could have looked at these kind of options, but why drag them along to Australia ways?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, I can't see many Celtic fans travelling from Scotland to Australia to see it right enough. But I mean,
I
what is
think
it?
Celtic will have a good fanfare, Mark, over in
But what's this?
Australia.
I mean, what's the segregation going to be like? And
Yeah,
what if some of your fans are that day turn up and start all their nonsense there?
exactly, Mark. Yeah, and like, are they going to be separated like the way we are here? Because look, you look in Australia, Mark, how really they are laid back. Like, and I would, like, do Celtic and Rangers fans actually mix over in Australia? We don't know. We don't live there, like, but like as you said, Mark, what if a group of their fans do grow over, Mark, and they think what's going to happen? It's going to destroy the whole.
And there'll be half and half scarves in sale. I'll tell
Yeah,
you that, there will be half and half scarves for sale over there.
yeah,
100%.
and
It's really just so, it's just, see if it's for money, it's even seedier, Paul. It's like I say, Paul, is when we going about getting into the Champions League, oh, we get pumped 7-1 with PSG or whoever it was. Oh, it's alright, but we get X amount of millions pounds for it. That's not good enough. That should just been a prostitute, basically. Basically, you'll just do anything for money. You'll take a good pumping for another team, but we're well paid for it.
mm,
And that's the way you look at things. I think it's been a bad idea. And not for Celtic to, as I said, this is all going to be promoted as Angie's homecoming. It was a bad idea for. Because I imagine Celtic have been in this for the get-go and they get what I mean. They had their opinion about Rangers coming for it and they've accepted that. And it's really not really dividing the fans, because I think the majority of the fans are on agreement that it's a really, really bad idea. And it's one of the few things that Celtic Rangers fans are actually keen on now.
and why do you think, Mark, Rangers fans are disagreeing with, like, when if we say if the financial award is right, Mark, that we get 6 million, they get 3 million, like, why do you think they are disagreeing with this, Mark, considering the club needs money and this is
Because they just feel as if they're getting dragged along to be a sideshow to Angie's big fancy homecoming tour.
but they do that themselves anyway, don't they?
No, but I mean, and you can see, I can totally understand why the Rangers fans are feeling the way they're feeling. Because how would you like that to be in another foot kind of shot? Do you know what I mean? Dragged away to the other side of the world. I even seen one of them saying that we used to call it the Spaniolification of Rangers. Now, Spaniol, they're actually Barcelona City rivals. That's a team that nobody really bothers about. And that's basically the way that Rangers have been treated in this tournament.
Mhm. Like, could you see, Mark, so that because they came to agreement to this, could you see down the line maybe come to agreement with the away fans, or is that still a no runner, do you think, or are we trying to build bridges with the Rangers board and maybe this will come down the line?
Well, Paul, I said before that I said that once we've kind of bitched each other, once we should get to go back to the kind of status quo. But I'm starting to come to the thing. Well, I'd be quite happy if the Rangers fans get back into Celtic Park,
Mm-hmm.
even vice versa. I don't go to the games, so I've not really got a right to say that. But in my opinion, I'd just keep it.
I think a lot of Celtic fans, Mark, are kind of saying that now, aren't they? It's either the full 7,000-8,000 mark or nothing at all.
I wouldn't even take that, Paul. I would just, no, it's alright, just keep that. We'll just no bother and we'll just keep all our tickets for your home game.
Mm-hmm.
It actually makes Celtic more money doing that, Paul, because it'll cut down on the cost of security and policing and all that.
Yeah, exactly. But Mark, look, we thought things were kind of changing on the board, like with Nixon coming in, like and stuff like that, like, but like this is a big blow, like doing this behind Celtic fans' back as well, like not inform the fans. We find out on Twitter that this is going on. Even the Celtic SELO kind of was in the dark about. He kind of didn't know much information about himself either.
It was a wee bit cute with his answer, but when he JP just kind of, I don't really know much about it, so don't bombard me with questions about it. I thought, as you said, Paul, as well, the SFA need to sanction this. I think this maybe be something that the SFA might kind of stop on the after Celtic and Rangers maybe asked him to stop it, if you know what I mean. They're, the SFA won't, or the SFP won't let us do this, that's
Well,
why
the
we can't do
SXA,
it.
Mark, are kind of saying what the same thing that you said, Mark. You know what I mean? Like, what if there is trouble over there? You know, it's damaging Scottish football. It's going to damage the two clubs, Denmark, if there is fights over there from rival supporters. You know what I mean? Like, it will damage the clubs, Mark. And
And
like,
they might be, I mean, they might be planning all this kind of party atmosphere and that, Paul, but you throw a lot of alcohol into the mix, do you get what I mean? And in these, I mean, there's a lot of supporters clubs for both sides here in Australia, so they're all in their pubs, a bevy for the day and thing, and you know what I mean? It's just going to be like, it'll end up turning into Glasgow, get what I mean? Because it's the
I
same.
don't think, Mark, they understand as well, Mark. You know what I mean? I'm looking at, like, it's what you said there, like, you see the likes of Liverpool and Manchester United going over to Australia, going off to China, playing these games, you know, and stuff like that. The Glasgow derby's rivalry it's not like no other in the world, Mark. There's
no, but
hate, there's hatred there, Mark. Do you get me?
the old firm derby, the Glasgow derby, they've said it for years, best derby in the world. And we know from our own experiences, Paul, it's the most poisonous, the most hateful derby in the world, without a doubt.
Yeah. But friendly or no friendly, Mark.
And that demeans it, but Paul, even doing that kind of demeans that a bit. You get what I mean? That kind of takes away from that kind of rivalry. If this is your great rival that you hate, and Celtic's come out themselves and said we're party, you know what I mean? We're party nothing, we're one club, stuff in that. Well, why do they need to take this kind of quote unquote old firm brand out of Australia to make money?
Exactly, Mark. Like they came out there 2 weeks ago, about 2-3 weeks ago, right? When Rangers said that there will be away fans at the next two away games, and Celtic came out and said Celtic make decisions on their own about allocations of away fans. We're one club, we make our own decisions, and then, as you said there, then they make this decision, then and then bring Rangers along with it. Then, you know, it's like it's either one or the other, Mark, isn't it?
Aye. I mean, if Australians or whatever it is want Celtic to come out, that's fair dues, but don't just all of a sudden see, pound signs, if we could take Rangers ways, that gives this kind of all firm tag to take out of the world kind of thing.
I like to know, Mark, is there actually an Australian businessman that's kind of came into this, Mark, and offered this money, Mark? Do you know what I mean? Like, is there some businessman behind it, Mark, and that's why?
I mean, I don't know, Paul, about the stadium, how much they're talking about, how much the stadium holds and things like that, but I mean, for a guy, if the money that's getting bandied about is right, talking well over £10 million to host this tournament, to pay us in the game, the other two teams actually cost you hosting it and running it, on top of that, you're talking well over £10 million. And right, fair dues, if Celtic's getting it, that's a good plus point, but who's going to come up with that money to do that for? How many tickets, and is it going to be a pay-per-view or something? How are they going to make the money back to make that kind of good business venture for them?
Mm-hmm. And they can't even go to see the set of Neighbours, Mark, because that's finishing up in June. You know, that makes another kind of downer that they won't have to go to see the actors
you'll be gutted with that.
We got it, they'll be gutted.
You'll be gutted. Does anybody still watch Neighbours?
I don't know about us there. I just heard in the news today that Neighbours is finishing up.
I saw something about it. I think it's on Channel 5 or something out here, Paul, but I don't know anybody who watches it.
Just who watches Channel 5, huh?
Some good documentaries on Channel 5.
Moving on, just get Mark, if the lads want to put in their opinions there, we just go through the live chat there. Ange and Celtic were invited, so where did this lot come from? Yeah, that's it, Mark. Like, we were invited, like so someone had to make contact with Rangers and ask them to come along. You know?
And obviously as well, Paul, they've obviously said to Celtic, look, we're going to approach Rangers if you've got a problem with that. Obviously we said no.
Is it going to be...
See, I said on the forum, Paul, this has got a kind of Peter Lawwell decision behind it, kind of feel it, but see, when I think back to it, I don't know if Peter Lawwell would even have went this far, to be honest, Paul. Friendly against Rangers.
I don't think he would, Mark.
I mean,
I know saying about Peter Lawwell, Mark, and thing, but
I
He
know
didn't
before
take
it,
no
no,
crap from the opposite side either, Mark. He didn't.
no, and he stood his ground with him most of the time. I
You know,
mean, maybe not publicly like mouthing papers, but he never bad mouth
it
him.
was him, Mark, that threw it back at them with no Celtic fans in the stadium.
I mean,
You
don't get
know,
us wrong. Liverpool been just before they went busting that there was Liverpool, Celtic and Rangers were both trying to manufacture a move down to England.
hmm
Was part of that, but that's looking at the bigger picture kind of thing, and that was like 10 years ago. It's a different landscape for Scottish football now, Paul. Really, but
hmm
we're in comparison even to Rangers, because we know it's all this debt to equity stuff and share issue after share issue. We're by far and large the richest club in Scotland. That's the way I've seen it on the forum. That's the way we need to start acting. We need to look on the Scottish League the way teams like PSG, Bayern Munich do that. Look on their league.
hmm
I mean, just who cares if there's only one Champions League place coming? Just make sure that's your Champions League place. It's up to Rangers. It's up to the rest of Scottish football and catch up. That'll be the wee freak like we got last year. We had one of them in France. We had one of them in Italy. With PSG and Juventus were 9 in a row as well, weren't they? So these things are going to happen, but just make sure that next year it doesn't happen again. We just continue. Okay, the most stable financially and the best run club, we'll get the most money. It's time we just kind of forgot this notion. Celtic need to always have one eye on what's good for Scottish football. There's many other teams do. Rangers don't care what's good for Scottish football. Aberdeen don't. I mean, they don't. Even their fans, the fans will only care really if Aberdeen. I mean, if some Saudi Arabian dodgy sheik guy came in and offered to buy Aberdeen, turn them into Man City, Aberdeen fans wouldn't be bothered on the backside about it.
Stubbs is saying, can I remind everyone, it's not Rangers that have been devised. It's look up. If you're actually listening to what I'm saying debt Rangers. That's what I know, Mark. Is it debt Rangers, isn't it?
Debt Rangers.
Yeah, debt Rangers. I think is it debt Rangers.
Aye.
You know, like what do they?
Well, tell Stubbs that he can come on. I'll give him a call on Skpe. He can come on and let us know how to say it right.
You know, so Celtic played Livingston on Sunday with a 12 p.m. kick-off. This has proven to be a very tricky tie for Celtic in recent years. Our last victory away to Livingston was a 3-1 victory on August the 4th in the 2018-2019 season. So it's become a real tough tie for Celtic in the past. So far this season, we drew 0-0 at home on the 30th of October. We lost to Livingston away. Ange has yet to beat Livingston. But Mark, surely by now, Ange should know how to approach this game. Or is he going to approach this game differently? Or do you think he's going to approach this game the same as any other game?
I think he'll approach it, won't it, Paul? I think he approaches every game like that, but it's just.
Like, we know, Mark, they're going to set up now.
We know how they're going to set up. We know how rough the park's going to be and things like that. But he's been there, so he's been there and seen it himself. So hopefully now he's come up with some kind of way. I mean, is this what we've been building up to, Paul? With all these crosses into the box? Is this?
Could be.
You get what I mean?
Could be.
The one that we're not going to outplay this team on the deck. So maybe this is kind of tactic and just working on
I think he was kind of hoping, Mark, that
would be a bit more
G. Marcus would be fit, Mark.
I think so.
Like, we kind of don't know.
I mean, this is Paul. I'm more worried about this game on Sunday than or about any of the rest of them.
Yeah, I that down, Mark.
Even before, like the last couple of games, I know but that's the Livingston game was the main worry for me.
I actually have the exact same down my notes, Mark. That I'm dreading this game more so than any other game because, Mark, of the fact that we didn't beat them since 2018. You know, and that's a long time for Celtic, Mark. Not to be
in the league all that time, was it?
There must have been, Mark. It was Dogs 2018, or was it a cup game? But that's the last time we beat them, August the 3rd. 2018 to 2019 season. You know, so like as Dubsy saying, Mark, with due result, like, but you know, we just seem to be down to the pitch. One, Mark, the pitch is shocking. We know that shock. We saw the difference between two artificial pitch, Mark, in Boba Glimit's pitch and the Livingston pitch. You can see the difference in standards there as well, can't you?
It's night and day, Paul, really. See that pitch that Bodo Glimt had, Paul, that I don't know what players actually see if they're playing on it, but see if you're going to be with an artificial surfaces, for me that should be the kind of standard, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, looking at it, you can tell because the telly, the artificial grass kind of has a wee glimmer on the telly, Paul. It looks a wee bit different, but really, it didn't. That could just have been a really nice grass, Paul. Looking at it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was state of the art, Mark. What it really was like state of the art. Like even with the way the ball travelled, Mark, it looked like it was in grass. You know, it just no. The last time we played, Mark, we didn't have Hiashe, we didn't have O'Reilly, we didn't have Mida. You know, will these players start that game, Mark, or will he start with the likes of Roderick, or think could these players make a difference, Mark, in opening up maybe Livingston?
Well, I think I would probably maybe go with Rogic starting on Sunday, Paul. I says he played well the other night when he came on. One of these players, he's got good close control and he can open up defences when he does games. So I would probably start with Rogic.
I think with Roderick too, Mark, in this type of game, that he could take two central defenders out of the game, as you said, with his course control. He could take two defenders out of the game and maybe open up space then for other players. You know?
But I know what Paul's saying, we know what we're going to face.
Mm-hmm.
And even, I mean, St Mirren and Hibs, they tried to get forward at certain times, Paul. I don't think Livingston will try and get out of the half. So I think it's going to be a case of we're kind of just on that wee area, just in front of their 18-yard line, Paul. We saw under Rodgers, we saw under Lennon, just kind of need that wee break in the puck just to break these teams down.
But would it be maybe, Mark, thinking what we saw last night, Mark, would there be a benefit of playing McGregor in a more forward role, maybe taking Hayata out of this game, Mark, because they're going to be so physical, and maybe putting a tougher player like McGregor up into the forward role?
Well, even at that, Paul, playing McGregor up there, I'm saying I don't expect much for Livingston offensively, so McGregor playing that deep line,
Like
he's not going to be involved as much.
That's no benefit to him.
And
Mark.
if he is, it's going to be the ball's back in the centre circle, and it'll be wee sideway passes, stuff like that again.
Exactly, like as you said there.
I would see probably Sunday, Paul. I would probably go with Beaton, McGregor, and Rogic as my midfield three.
Mm-hmm.
Beaton, that's
Beaton because of his height.
But not just that, that's Beaton's natural position is to just like sit back even when the ball is up. Do you get what I mean? His natural position is that CDM role. So it's no affecting anything that he does, whereas McGregor been sitting back in that role. It's affecting him because Livingston aren't going to offer much going forward, I don't think.
And that's no help Denmark to McGregor if he's going to be sitting. But we're not going to get nothing out of him in that game if he's going to be playing this defensive midfielder role, Mark. You know.
No, but that's the three I would start with on Sunday.
Big question mark is the role of our centre forward. You know, we don't know. You think maybe he could miss Sunday, Mark? G. Marcus?
I think he'll be playing on Sunday, Paul. The way Ange spoke as well, he could have probably played last night or at least been on the bench, but I thought he would just give him an extra couple of days to make sure he was alright for Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Gio Kamakis, I think he'll be starting on Sunday.
I'd like to see Radisson start this game as well, Mark, and Jovanovic jump left just because of Radisson, Mark. He's more physical to these type of teams, and he gives us that bit of physicality as well, Mark, even going forward.
I'd go with Liam Scales at left back, Paul.
For the height?
For the height and speed as well. He's a younger guy, you know, and younger guys are more used to playing on these kind of dodgy surfaces a bit as well, Paul. So I would go with Scales.
What about
Again, but and Paul, so they're saying these players, fringe players, we're kind of worried about this Livingston game, but the Livingston game should fall into these kind of categories where we can have a few fringe players playing, knowing that they're. I mean, if Scales isn't good enough to come in and put in a good performance against Livingston, Paul, not just Scales,
especially Mark,
I'm not
because this
singling
game
him
is
out. I'm talking
this
about.
game is going to play into Scales' advantage because of his height anyway. You
Aye,
know,
because there'll be a lot of long balls. The ball will spend a lot of time up in there, so I'd start with
because
Scales at
the
left
last
back.
time we played against Livingston, Mark, they were targeting Taylor for high balls.
Aye, a few teams do that as well,
You
but
know,
didn't they?
and that's going to be, and the reason because of that, then Mark Starfelt is going to get dragged off to the left. Starfelt then is going to have a bad game because we saw him getting sent off against Livingston, Mark.
They're a big shout for Joseph Agnew. Yeah,
You know,
Caramaco Dembele. I think he will get a start on Sunday.
I would like to, Mark. I won't think he'd
I don't
start.
think he would start, no. You'd
You
seen
know,
him
but
coming on. I mean, I didn't expect him to come on last night, but again, Paul, that's the type of games that we're talking about when you're bringing young players into your team. I mean, we were 2-0 up at the time when Dembele came on, weren't we? So
do you still think,
the
Mark,
game's
like that?
deep
He's
and
still
buried.
very, very lightweight.
He's not really. He's took a stretch in height. I say
Mm-hmm.
that, but he's not really filled out much, isn't he? You know?
No, he's still. I would like, Mark, as you said, if well, Mark, we saw it like with Ben Doak, like uh, Ange threw Ben Doak into the spotlight in two games when we needed goals. He threw one against Aberdeen and he bought him on against Rangers. You know, if Ange thinks Dembele could be ready, Mark, Ange will play Dembele. You know, like
100%. And that's what I'm saying, Paul. I'm not saying he'll start him, but if Celtic can get a couple of goals in front on Sunday, bringing Dembele on again and
mhm.
give him, just to give him his chance, get him used to being actually in the first team, like on the pitch with the first team and things like that. Starting to bring him into the squad, and just see how he progresses for then. I mean, we're worrying about Dembele, but Dembele must be worrying himself because he's not really proved himself. So I don't think any of these kind of massive money moves that
No,
maybe
because
were
that's what I was
available a
saying to
while
you,
back
Mark,
will still be there
on
for him,
Sunday, like
Paul.
that. The agents were kind of saying like that. Well, he kind of hasn't really proven himself at Celtic yet, like, and that's why, like, he's in the last year of his contract, Mark. He can sign now, like, and
Aye,
there's actually no teams are after coming in, you know, so he has to prove himself as well, Mark.
that's it. I don't think the big money moves that were there from a couple of years ago are still going to be there. And maybe he's thought this is my best place to be the new, but he's still maybe got to convince Celtic that Celtic want him still there because he's not done much, Paul, to be honest. He was another one of these kind of super kids, and now we're saying he's 19 and we're still not really seeing much of him and things. I mean,
Kind of
he's like the same age as Abada was last
That's
year.
just what to say,
Aye,
Mark.
aye.
You look at the impact that Abada's after making at 19. Like Abada was 18, Mark, when he came into the squad, you know, and you look at the impact in Abada's after make like Abada now, Mark is you can't drop him. We're not the same team if we drop Abada, you know, and
Oh, definitely. But again, it can blow a bit hot and cold, Paul, but we all know that Jota has good games and bad games as well, but you can see you can see how good that he actually is on his game and how good that he's going to be in the next couple of years. But have we really seen anything like that for Karamoko Dembele? We've
no,
not. It's
no,
just the hype. The hype. We're worrying about the hype of a player that's going to leave us. I mean, look at other wee Farouz, wee Islam Farouz. It was all the hype around him. I don't even think he's playing anywhere, ain't he, no, Paul?
mm-hmm,
Wee Islam Farouz, and then another the other foot.
mm-hmm.
Andy Robertson, there was two wee are no good enough for Celtic, and look where he is now.
So, Brian is saying there, Mark, try something different against Livy. First half, if it doesn't work, then change. Play Ralston there, Mark. You know what I mean?
Tried sneaking 12 men on the park.
You know, it's a tough game, Mark, to kind of do a score prediction considering the past visits and even under Ange, Mark, we've struggled against Livingston. Do you know what I mean? And the more it's 0-0, the more confident Livingston are getting, Mark, and they'll get that one chance, and that's the only one chance, Mark, they need. You know, and we saw that in October, Mark. They needed one chance. They punched us, even though we
If
controlled the
Livingston are
game.
going to gain, and it'll probably be for a set piece, Paul. And as I say, Celtic just need to just use a bit of imagination. Kind of that's what it takes, is a wee bit of luck, a wee bit of imagination for somebody, Paul, to break through these defences. And I don't think Celtic will. I think they'll win. It'll be a hard game, and I think Celtic will win, but it'll be 1 or 2-0.
Especially no, Mark.
I don't even think you're saying, Paul, if we score an early goal, these teams need to come out. I don't think Livingston will come out, even if we do get an early goal.
They'll keep it at 1-1 Mark, as long as they can. Yeah, you know, and that's what these teams do.
Horrible team.
You know, and the pressure's on us now, Mark, because like Rangers are playing Aberdeen on Saturday, like, so they kind of have the advantage this weekend. Look, we're not going to predict their score, like, but if they win, Mark, like, it's going to be an even tougher game for Celtic.
But if they draw,
you know,
they draw, there's a lot of pressure on Celtic again. It's like, I don't know if JFP's still in the chat. I was out with him and his wife last Sunday, him and big Campsey boy, and we were drawing 2 each with Dundee. You know what I mean? That's what it takes, Paul. I think Rangers are going to struggle against Aberdeen. That Dundee, that was Dundee at the bottom of the league, Paul. We struggled to beat them. No, Aberdeen aren't doing too well in that, but it's always a big game when Rangers play Aberdeen. When the kind of Scott Brown mixing it up factor and things like that, that'll be
I just like to say,
it'll be a tough game.
You know, with Scott Brown being in there again. Like,
Johnny Hayes and people like that are there.
You know, Montgomery's down there as well, Mark, isn't he?
He's there too, isn't he? But it'll be a tough game for Rangers as well, Paul. And it could work in our favour as well. It really could, because if they don't win on Saturday, Celtic players will know that's a massive chance to build a gap in that league.
Goodwin's a good manager, Mark. I think Goodwin will do good at Aberdeen.
I think
he'll get them playing.
I think he'll be better than Glass. I said to you right at the beginning, Paul. I never saw that Stephen Glass appointment working out for them. But I think Goodwin's a better SPL manager for Aberdeen. Do you get what I mean? Than Stephen Glass.
He did, Mark. St Mirren under him, Mark, did play football. Do you know what I mean? They did play a bit of football. Like, you know, they were getting results out of it, and they were kind of disappointed that he left. They didn't kind of want him to go, but it's a big move for him, Mark, and a move that he couldn't kind of turn down himself either.
No, it's a good step up for him. It's a good progression. Well, if it worked for Alex Ferguson, that's where Alex Ferguson went for St Mirren to Aberdeen, wasn't it? I think he'll do a decent job.
Could you see us, Mark, going something that Stubbsy is saying there? Like, maybe a 3-5-2. We'd have to change the formation, considering now as well, Mark, that yes, he is fit. Could you see him going maybe 2 strikers up top against Livy?
No, I just don't see Ange doing that at all, Paul. But maybe later on in a game we'll maybe see him trying something like that. But I can't see Ange changing his setup and the way he sets the team up for loving their money, really, Paul. I really don't. I think that's his kind of way he sets his team up.
I think with modern football now, Mark, the 2 strikers is kind of gone in this.
I can't think of anybody that plays with it. It's a weird gene, because everybody says to play with 2 strikers, you need 5-2, but you can play a 4-4-2 or things like that. I don't think anybody plays 4 either now, do they?
No, and like, this is actually good one here by Brian, Mark, right? If we're supposed to be playing fast, free football, Mark, high tempo and stuff like that, surely the plastic pitch would be more benefit to us.
No.
Considering not Livy's pitch anyway.
No, definitely no, Paul. Honestly, even when I was at Mikey's charity game at Falkirk Stadium, that looked the part to me, kind of thing. It looked decent enough in that, and even my wee nephew and that came off and see running on it. It's just so hard running on it because there's no give weight, kind of thing. That You can compare that kind of Livingston pitch to the old kind of things you got. Lasses used to play hockey on these kind of.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get like, in the PE halls at school and that.
That's how I actually damaged my knee.
What, on something like that, was it?
It was an old hockey pitch,
Right.
and they kind of closed it off Denmark into 4 sections, you know, to make the small pitches.
I know what you're talking. That's the exact same
and
kind of thing, Paul.
I even had padded pants on, Mark, you know, and I still damaged my knee in it. Like, that was the first injury I had. It was like I kind of chipped a bone in it, and I just Paul never went to the doctor, and I just fucking made worse and worse then over the years. Like, so, like,
I mean, I think
they're dangerous, Mark. Like, those pitches, like, they're dangerous.
But I think just going with that, with Brian saying, I think if you're like playing like saw with Bodo Glimpton teams like that, and think that the Russian World Cup and things like that, they've spent serious kind of money on. I mean, even Celtic's grass isn't a real 100% grass. That's kind of one of these leaves and stuff like that. And individual are saying about the Real Madrid's new stadium and pitch and that, Paul. I mean, I don't know why that's real grass when they're doing all that with machines and stuff. So, but that Livingston pitch, I don't even think you can kind of guarantee when your ball's going to bounce.
But even, Mark, like, you talk about Celtic Park there, Mark. Even our pitch doesn't look the best at the moment. So it doesn't. It seems to be ripping up a lot, like, doesn't it? You know?
That was I don't know how I've not looked into it much for Paul, but mine it was Brendan Rodgers.
That was the hybrid grass he was bringing in, yeah.
Deso was it the company's called, and it's meant to be like the best in the world. They do Wembley, they do Old Trafford and stuff, places like I'm sure, but the pitch we put in for Brendan Rodgers, I've never really been impressed with it.
No, because remember the first season he was like that, Mark,
really
and ripped up, yeah.
They spend more money on it.
Because I noticed there now last night that around the corners there's no grass.
Did we not need to get a game moved, Paul, from Celtic Park to an away game at the beginning of the season to give us a bit of extra time for the pitch to settle in?
The pitch had to be, some parts of the pitch had to be relayed. You know, like I was looking there yesterday, in and around the corner flags, and there was actually no grass.
That's awfully bare round there.
Yeah, like, so no wonder we can't beat the first man, Mark, if you kind of have nowhere to place the ball in a bit of grass just to get that extra bit of height off the floor.
Oh, that's all, man. You're not blaming the grass for the state of the corners in that, are you?
Why not, by Jesus Christ, man. If I couldn't find a blade of grass by to put the ball in back, I wasn't fucking getting out of the box. I remember.
John Kennedy's in charge of the grass in the corner post.
I was in goal, and I took a corner kick. And then I'm like, no, well, I did, and I fucking miskicked it, Mark. And I just saw the ball going behind me into the goal. And I was such a psychopath in goal, Mark. Not one of the players, not one of my defenders said anything to me. I just put my hand up like, my bad, sorry about that. I know how, and still to this day, I still don't know how I managed to fucking put the ball into my own net. You know, that's when I kind of thought, I'm getting too old for this fight.
That's a buy.
You know, I couldn't even blame John Kennedy in that, Mark, but I couldn't. You know,
thinking back, you'll probably be able. I seen John Kennedy's coaching videos, and he taught me how to do that, how to defend these set pieces, just score an OG with it.
I remember when I was younger.
You're looking back now.
And I was watching. It was thing what Barry was saying there, Mark. Years ago on the Celtic TV, you could watch all these old reserve games and stuff like that.
Aye.
And they used to show clips of the Celtic goal. This is going back now to when Gordon Marshall was there and Packy Bond was there. And I remember when they came off to Bishopstown, my dad brought me off to see Celtic training. And I was so impressed, like, the training that the Celtic goalkeepers did, like that. That's how I actually started training myself. Then I showed the players what they're supposed to do with me, and that's how I actually became a goalkeeper. You know, because of
Gordon Marshall inspired you.
No, Packy Bonner, Packy Bonner all the way. You know, I hated Gordon Marshall because he took Packy Bonner's face. Never liked him. You know, never liked him. You know, but they were happy days, Mark Boyd, you know?
Oh,
Happy
aye.
days, you know? But that would have been in Barrowfield, Mark, I think, back in those days.
Yeah, it would be
Like,
just the back of the social club.
yeah, like Lennoxtown wasn't built
I think
back.
they're meant to be doing up that Barrowfield now.
Yeah, the kind of a state-of-the-art indoor arena, so they can go in train and stuff like that as well, Mark. Into the
I
first
mean,
thing when
that Lennoxtown, Paul, that's in the back of Beyond.
is this?
It really is. The training centre's in middle of nowhere.
But Mark, would you
And
think
see, the
now,
winter and that is
like,
bad for weather and stuff like that.
would you think now, Mark, like when that's built and with the movements throughout with all these new developments now in football, Mark, is Lennoxtown kind of aged? Like, should that be upgraded and facilities and stuff like that, or do you think it is state of the
See,
art?
it's no state of the art now, Paul. See, years ago, I'm going back donkeys years and that, when I was like 20, 21 or whatever. You see across from Celtic Park, Paul, just pure wasteland. With that O2 arena, what is it called? This park now. The Emirates Arena, isn't it? That was just wasteland, Paul. And I used to say for years, Celtic should buy that and build a training ground there. Just right across the road from Celtic Park. See all these young players in that? Their job is to become good enough to get across that road.
And where's Barrowfield then, Mark?
Barrowfield's just a long, it's like 5 minutes in a car or that, Paul. 10 minutes, 10-minute walk, 20 minutes if you're drunk kind of thing. Just along the road for the stadium.
And what do they do there now? Like, are they kind of youth teams down there now, or?
Well, I think during the winter, Paul, they take the team down there to train. But see if I'm quite honest with you, Paul, I don't know what's down there now. I've not been doing that neck of the woods for a long time. Maybe some of the lads in the live chat will know what's doing at Barrowfield. But that is where they put in planning permission to something like that, Paul.
Yeah, because we said that in the podcast.
But
Teams
to
at the start of the year.
extend, I mean, you mind they were building big air dome things for Brendan out at Lennoxtown, and we're building all this stuff for Ronnie Dyle and stuff. Then with our hotel we were getting built, it never comes to pass.
No, there seems to be a lot of talk, Mark, and kind of no action. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember Brendan Rogers said something about the facilities, right? That they some parts of it needed to be upgraded, and I
see the
think
thing
Mark
as well,
Peter
Paul,
Law was kind of running deaf ears, I say, is it?
aye, and that's see the thing about it, Paul. But I'll keep. I know I'm getting back here all on the open record stuff, but that's just really your director of football that comes in, Paul. Yeah, it shouldn't be up to Ange to fight the club to get training. It shouldn't have been up to Brendan Rodgers or Ronnie to fight to get any kind of training facilities improved or get things built. That should be, like, as I say, director of footballs or people like that are putting plans in place for stuff like that. I mean, Ange shouldn't be taking, any manager shouldn't be taking the responsibility of what's going to happen at a club 5 years after you've left. Get what I mean? And that's the kind of thing. In our training ground, it's probably still probably Scotland or that, but you never hear any major workful upgrades or anything like that. So, to me, it will still be it'll be becoming dated and things like that.
But you just proved your point there, Mark, is like why we need a director of football, because he come in there and he'll analyse everything that's in the club, like, and he'll see then, like, look, the facilities, like, they're not suited for the way the manager wants to play. You know what I mean? We have to change. Do you know what I mean? That's why director of football is needed in the club, that he's there to make these decisions, not the manager taking his focus away from the first team.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. There's a lot of things that Ange's taking. It's working, don't get us wrong, but I keep saying it, Paul. It's things that he really shouldn't need to be getting involved in. You get what I mean, sir? Right, get this season out of the way, and then come this summer we're going to look at improving, like, the back. I keep saying the backroom side of things, and the football side, what's happening behind the scenes. The stuff that we really don't. We don't need to know every intricity, or whatever that word is. But at least say, right, we're bringing in a director of football, and then a few months later you hear that there's Barrowfield getting upgraded, this is happening, we're bringing scouts in, we're doing things like that, because we can't just keep relying on Ange to pull us out of holes. There's no, I keep saying it, there's no long-term vision at Celtic.
No.
I mean, they're even doing to this trip to Australia. Right, Ange, how do we know Ange is going to still be under Celtic manager? Contract's in a couple of months.
Yeah, it's a rolling contract, Mark. That's you know, and that's the one thing, Mark.
Well, see, technically, Paul, know that because it
rolls on year on year, Mark. No, they don't have to do negotiations. It just rolls on.
It rolls on day for day, Paul. Ange's contract lasts for a year for the day. Then she come tomorrow. It's a year for the day. It's every day that it's just a year's old contract just goes from day to day.
Yeah.
But teams are looking for managers. That it's going to come this summer. Get what I mean? Sanji's only going to be under a year's contract. No, it'll take us a year's compensation to get him away.
Well, what is your thoughts on that, Mark? Do you think it's a good idea, or would you like what we did with Brendan Rodgers, kind of give it more long term? And does that give more confidence then, Mark, to the players as well, that I'm just sticking around, or?
As it, well, they're put Jabra Jobbies is just staying there. That's what I was going to say. Rodgers was off his 4-year contract in the middle of April in his first season. They see similar with Ange. I'd like to see the club tying him down to like a term contract. I think that'd be worth.
Because what you said to me, Mark, is is this a kind of a hint as well that Ange is going to be here next season? That we are doing this trip, that it is called the homecoming of Ange. You know what I mean?
I think it would be silly if the Celtic board done trying to get me saying a kind of fixed long-term deal. Paul. I mean, because don't get us wrong, the position we're in now, it would be really, really disappointing if we didn't win the league this year. But
definitely, it's still a long hands, Mark.
That's what I'm saying, Paul. But even if we did blow it now, I think we've seen enough for Ange to trust them that we're
there's
in the
27
right
points
track.
left up for grabs. So realistically, we're only 3 points head, Mark. So we need 24. You know, to kind of win it.
But we need 27.
Is it 27 we need? Is it?
No. We maybe don't need them, but that's what we want. We want 27. We want to win every single game between now and the end of the season. That's basically. Just got to approach these games, Paul, starting Sunday. Every game's got to be like a cup final.
This is crucial, Mark. This game Sunday, I think, Mark, and you know what? It's the only game that I'm really worried about, Mark, is playing them up there.
I was the same, Paul.
That's a long time, Mark. 2018, Mark, is a long time for Celtic not to beat a team.
See, when you're a big team, Paul, chasing trophies, every game's a must-win game. And even it's even tougher in Scotland because Celtic Rangers.
You come to think of it, Mark, this is going back till when we done the treble. Is it like we done the quadruple under Rodgers, Mark? Is this going back to that was when we last beat him in that season under Rodgers? Because Rodgers obviously struggled there, Mark. Was it in 2018 or was it this under Lennon?
No, under Rodgers.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So this is going back to Brendan Rodgers' great teams. So it's not just Ange has struggled to beat these teams. It's just, is it the way the system goes? So, Mark, is the way we play against these teams, trying to play the ball on the floor, Mark, and stuff like that. Or something's going wrong within the club that we can't beat these teams. You know?
It's weird saying it, Paul, but it has been a kind of, it's like we're set pieces. It's been a continuation from manager to manager to manager.
Yeah.
We don't seem to, and no, the same. A lot of the problems we've had the same problems under Brendan Rodgers. Towards the end, the same problems under Lennon last year.
Yeah, but I said, Mark, then would it be a benefit for Ange to have one of his own coaches in there, and then maybe he might see something different to what all other coaches are doing? Do you get me? I'm not putting no blame on.
No, just a wee bit of fresh perspective kind of thing.
Yeah, someone from the outside that would see it. Look.
Again, Paul, that's something I think it's got to be in the summer as well.
I think this year, Mark, was all about getting Ange in, wanted to get the manager in, but he definitely needs a kind of one of his own lads, Mark, that actually knows his Andrews system out and out, like, you know what I mean? You know?
No, but just somebody with a bit of a different perspective. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we went on about, I went on about when Damien Duff came in and kind of how the effect he had in the team. So maybe it will be, and it's something I've said along and all. Angel came in and obviously they knew he's happy enough with what Kennedy Stratton's been doing before that. Even when he went manager of the month award, Paul, he's there giving him their credit for helping him and the team.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think he should be allowed to bring in at least one coach that Ange picks that he knows, like a right hand man, and somebody that's even got the kind of guts to say to him, no wait, do you know what I mean? A number two doesn't need to be a yes man. You've got to give, like, tell the manager, no, I wouldn't need to go down that kind of road, that's not going to work out, kind of thing. And that's maybe something that's needing to be done as well. But definitely I think we need to get somebody with a bit of a fresh outlook into first team coaching staff.
Mm-hmm. Score predictions, Mark. Would you go 1-0, 2-0, or?
I'll say 2-0, Paul. Messi, a hard fought 2-0.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I'd be hoping to it, Mark. I think the players themselves know as well, Mark, that they need to beat Livingston, and they know it's going to be a tough game. And you know, like Zan said, Mark, they're up for every game, but
Just got to approach every game. Like, say the cup final.
Cup final, yeah, because that's what it is, Mark.
Livingston, get the points and get out of Dodge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I keep saying as well, right? We didn't play too well against St Mirren last night, but that was a big 3 points, Paul.
I thought, like,
and see, come the end of the season, Paul, if we win the league, nobody's going to say maybe we played shite against St Mirren that night. And see, if we don't win the league, nobody's going to say, when that night we played shite against St Mirren and 1-2-0. That's not going to affect his losing. Do you get what I mean? When it's a league, Paul, sometimes it's no good to watch, and Celtic have got a bit of a lull and things like that, but we're getting to the business end of the season, but all that matters really is
the win. Mark,
that's
the big teams, Mark, when they're not playing well.
Aye, grinding out results. But
Yeah,
you can't fall into the trap, Paul, accepting just grinding results out every week. You know what I mean? 1-0.
You need a bit of consistency as well, Mark, or a nice decent run behind you as well going into these games. And we have been doing that up to kind of really the Hibs game, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
Paul, the Hibs game's been really, that's been right, we're not in Europe, but domestically, the Hibs game's been the only kind of blot on the landscape for when January, before January even.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right, and we drew at Hibs, and is it the worst result in the history of Celtic? Drawing nothing each with Hibs at Easter Road? No, really. I mean, years gone by this time, Celtic would have nothing each draw for Hibs.
Yeah.
We're lucky to get out of there with a point.
Like, there's no easy games anymore, Mark, and I think, like,
No away from
that's when I see players coming up, or when I see the likes of Sky Sports or their commentary, like, dissing the Scottish football. There's no easy games in this league, Mark, because every team is different. You know what I mean? There are different approaches. Like, you could get one team who's like, we didn't expect Dundee United, Mark, to attack us in these games. You know what I mean? As Jonas said, like that, this is a different approach that Coates has taken on the Dundee United. Attack Celtic. You know what I mean? So it's getting harder and harder each year.
Dundee United fans only happy with.
No.
I've said to Mikey to try and get a hold of Jonas, we'll get an RBSPL roundup going. But when I was talking to Mikey, he says a lot of Dundee United fans only happy with the things that are going under Coates.
No, they kind of going by his Twitter feed, Mark, right? They're not happy the way he's playing. Like, you know what I mean? He's kind of gone very defensive now and everything. Like, he's not attacking teams as he used to, you know?
It's a bit hard to... I'm not talking about any supporters of other clubs and that, but see, like, as a Celtic fan, it's a bit hard to put yourself into the shoes of, like I said, Jonas, a Dundee United fan, because we only see them really playing against Celtic. But maybe you'll tune in if they're playing Rangers or the odd game, you'll maybe stick on, but just keep an eye on it. But these guys are watching. I mean, they've got game. Dundee United will be playing teams that they're going and the fans are expecting to win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and
exactly.
if that's not happening, you can see that kind of why they're getting a bit upset about the way things are going. Because if you're a Dundee United fan, you're still expecting to go and beat St Johnson, St Mirren. Do you get what I mean? If you don't, if Celtic beat Dundee United 4-1, Jonas is going to probably that was a bit of a bummer with getting beat 4-1.
Exactly, yeah.
But
exactly.
that's it. But if
they get
Dundee
beaten
United,
by
if Dundee United get beat
4-1.
with Livingston or beat with Motherwell or things like that, that's a bad result for Dundee United.
It's a big blow, Mark. Yeah, exactly. That's it for tonight, lads. Thanks for joining us on the live chat tonight. We'll be back again on Sunday for hopefully where Celtic will still be in top league. Mark will close the show.
Well, we need to be in top of the league.
As I said, where Celtic will be in top of the league.
I thought you said hopefully.
I don't know what I said, but it just came out.
It just came out, you know, wrote it down.
I put my notepad away.
Off under lock and key. Right, brilliant. Right, thanks very much, Paul, and everybody that's joined us in the live chat. Hope you enjoyed it. Really appreciate you all coming on, helping us out, having a wee chat amongst yourselves and that. Remember, if you've not hit the like button, please do share it on your social medias. Hit the subscribe button, and if you know how, leave a comment. It helps us move up the YouTube algorithm. Hail, good night, lads, and God bless.